It's the radio guy, Dr. Mike Prince. Welcome to another episode here at the Open Mic Broadcast Network. It is our mission to try to bring you some news that you can use, and today will be no exception to that rule. Follow me on X at the Mike Prince Show. The YouTube channel is the Open Mic Broadcast Network. We do have a 24-hour stream at your availability on the website at obnradio.com. With all that being established, let us get together for another episode of The Zone. Well, we have a very intriguing show for you on today. We're going to hear from the Queen of the Courts, Miss Tamika Newman. She has a very special guest for us on today. I'll save that surprise for you. But meanwhile, speaking about volleyball, rough night for the Panthers as they fell short in a tight one against Texas A&M Corpus Christi, losing 3-2. So they'll come back and get ready to try and get reestablished. Miss Newman will break down some volleyball talk, not only at Prairie View, but throughout the entire conference. Also, rough night in Waller County, Texas for high school football on Friday night. The Waller Bulldogs lost to Lake Creek by the score of 63-24. Royal Falcons fell short to the Iowa Colony Pioneers by the score of 40-12. And then you had the Hempstead Bobcats traveling to Sweeney, Texas, where the Bulldogs were able to take care of them by a final score of 56-18. We heard a lot from our football coaches throughout the course of the week. We heard from offensive coordinator Mr. Mark Frederick and defensive coordinator Alvin Fosselman of the Prairie View A&M University Panthers. Also heard from Heish Northern, our football analyst for the Open Mic Broadcast Network, him breaking down some key games for this week. In particular, it's going to be that Jackson State Southern game. Both of those teams are looking to rebound, and they are going to have to do something. Someone's going to come out limping even harder, and someone's going to be finding themselves back on the good foot. And, of course, the Prairie View A&M University Panthers will be hosting the Abilene Christian Wildcats later today. 6 p.m. is that kickoff time with a 5:30 pregame show starting at the Open Mic Broadcast Network. You'll listen to Andre Davis, Greg Johnson, and Philip Prince break down today's contest. We'll break down our power rankings for week 1 of the Southwestern Athletic Conference and look at some other key matchups in this week's battles. But first, we're going to switch over to the Queen of the Court, Miss Tamika Newman, and her exciting segment of volleyball talk throughout the Southwestern Athletic Conference.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you for tuning in to Above the Net SWAC Volleyball News. You are listening to your host for today, Tamika Newman, volleyball analyst, two-time SWAC graduate, received a bachelor's from PVAMU and a master's in business from Texas Southern. Also, your 2006 SWAC Volleyball Player of the Year. Like the famous saying that went viral last year, I am SWAC. This segment of Dr. Mike Prince's already popular show, Talking All Things SWAC, is to, number one, highlight elite performances by teams and individuals, interview current and former players and coaches to give youth coaches, parents, players an inside look into a SWAC volleyball program. Today's guest is one of the best to put on a volleyball jersey in Prairie View history. She's my teammate and friend, and this makes me realize I'm really old, for almost 20 years. Welcome to the show, Shannon Harrison.
Hey, Mika.
Yes, you see, she called me by my nickname. We've known each other so long. So, Shannon, we're excited to have you on the show. You're actually our first guest. So There you go. So let's get right into the show. Shannon, talk to us about your journey. Tell us where you're from and lead us up to this point in your life.
Well, I'm from San Antonio, Texas. I actually started out as a volleyball manager in the 6th grade. My sister played volleyball, so I just kind of wanted to be, connected and in the mix. So, just kind of, watching what they do, and I'm thinking, oh, well, I could do that. So when 7th grade came around, I ended up not getting picked for a team because I registered late for the program, and it was, we have our team picked, so, maybe next year. So I was in PE. I maybe served a few balls, and it was like, oh, no, we got room, we have room. So, so I was on the A team, 7th and 8th grade, and then when I got to high school, I was primarily basketball. So our basketball coach was like, hey, you must either run cross country or play volleyball to play basketball. So I chose volleyball because cross country wasn't my thing. But I just kind of, developed over the years. I had some awesome coaches in my high school program at Sam Houston High School in San Antonio. And I just led my way and got to Prairie View for volleyball. I wasn't actually recruited there, but it was an interest for me to go there. So some awesome things have happened. We went in the SWAC in 2006. I didn't realize I set a record in 2007, 2008. And I ended up, being a graduate assistant after I graduated undergrad. And I was at for 2 years. And then I actually didn't have an interest to be an educator or an interest to coach volleyball. I was more law enforcement oriented because my father and my stepmom are police officers in San Antonio. So I started my career out at the Bexar County Sheriff's Office. I was there for 3 years, and then a famous person that's famous to me, her name is Tamika Newman. Tamika the Beast Newman. She's a pioneer. All right. Yes, she was a pioneer that started my interest in coaching. She started first, so it's kind of like, okay, this is something that I can do, and I received an opportunity to do that because, working with, inmates, it was kind of like, what was the main thing? Like, why are you here? Oh, well, I didn't have a role model. So that was kind of, the second thing that really pushed me to get into education. So started out at my alma mater at Sam Houston in San Antonio. And then I was there for like 2 years, and I got my first head job in 2016. And then I came to Houston in 2017, and I'm currently the head volleyball coach at C.E. King High School, located in Sheldon ISD. It's my first year. And, it's just been some awesome things going on this year. I'm also the owner of the Houston Hurricanes Volleyball Club. So that's kind of a brief synopsis of how I got to where I'm at on my journey.
Yes, brief, but so impactful. I want to back up a little bit. You talked about getting into, when you were working with inmates, you looked and said, well, how do they get to this point? And you saw that there was a lack early on in their life for good mentors. I didn't realize that was one of your motivations, nor that I was. I appreciate you for that. But that is so awesome. I'm a person that coaching was not something I set out to do. I was actually going to be a sports analyst. But I remember feeling a great amount of being indebted to the people who poured into me when I was a youth. Grew up in a low resource area. My grandmother was doing the best she could to provide for me, but didn't have a lot of opportunities and didn't see a lot of people, especially in that sports arena, taking sports far, even into the college level. But I remember at some point feeling like there are some people who stood in the gap for me at just the right time, and it really changed the trajectory of my life. And so I coach and work with youth as a way of paying them back. But I love that you decided that I need to go catch people before they get to here, before they get to prison, before they get to jail. So that's awesome. I love that is one of your motivations. So for the high school athletes that are listening, talk about what was the biggest adjustment from high school sports to college sports?
The big adjustment was the intensity of like the workouts, and you don't have that person or your parent to be on you to make sure you go from class to class. It's your responsibility to make sure you are where you're supposed to be at, and you're not getting a phone call at home when you're in college. So but I didn't feel like I had that bad of an adjustment. I kind of didn't know no better, if that makes any sense. It was just I was so conditioned to just do what I was supposed to do. So it was a smooth adjustment. But for those that are listening, you have to be responsible. You have to be accountable. You have to have some sense of integrity, because somebody is always watching.
Absolutely, absolutely. Big shout out to Sam Houston High School, because I got the privilege of having two teammates that went to Sam Houston, Alexandria Knowles and then yourself. You guys had some of the best work ethic I've ever seen. And I can tell you now that I'm an adult and did a little recruiting as a college coach, we love kids from the San Antonio or Central Texas area because of their work ethic. I want to believe it has something to do with a lot of people having a background in military, but the hardest working kids I've ever met. So big shout out to the San Antonio area. Is that a trend that you found? Have you paid attention to that with some of the people you grew up with?
Yes. Shout out to Coach Jones. I'm going to tell you this. Coach Jones was our basketball coach. And, it was just, she held us accountable 110% of the time, and just was consistent. And that's why it was easy. It was an easy transition, from high school to college, because, we had people like her, that held us accountable. But yes, there is a trend with athletes in San Antonio. And a lot of times San Antonio athletes get overlooked, but it's kind of like, if you go to San Antonio, you're going to hit a gold mine. You're going to find, a few diamonds in the rough. So let's not.
Absolutely.
Shout out to San Antonio.
Yes, shout out. I love San Antonio, especially go to SeaWorld. I go every summer. So I love San Antonio for a few days to rest and relax. Me and my daughter love to visit. So, Coach, you're a coach now, and when we were athletes, they always told us that athletics was prepping you for life, right? And now we're coach and we're adults, and we see that they were right. So give me one lesson you learned in college athletics that still helps you to this day.
The one lesson I learned was things don't always go as planned, and it is okay. Make the adjustment and make the best of it. So, for example, you might say, oh, well, I'm an outside. Like for me, I started off as an outside. I didn't have no earthly clue what a libero was. But it was by, random choice. Hey, you're going to be the libero for today. Oh, okay. Because we didn't have liberos at that time when I was in high school. I learned about that in college. So, I was able to just make that adjustment, and not, limit myself to just, one position. That just gave me the opportunity to have multiple tools, in my toolbox that I could always, go back and forth. So if I needed to be an outside, I could be an outside. If I needed to be a libero, I could be a libero. So, don't get flustered. It's okay. Be ready to, for things to change.
Oh, man, you said it right there. Be ready for things to change. That is something we have to deal with every day. And we see young people who struggle with that. We see adults who struggle with change, which usually leads to depression, suicide, just engaging in bad habits because we cannot deal with change. I love that. That's one of the biggest lessons that I learned too. So let's talk about SWAC volleyball. And I know you're still an avid fan. You follow the sport, especially our beloved PV. But in general, you follow everybody else. Talk about the differences in SWAC volleyball then. And for our listeners, we played 2004 to 2008 and now. SWAC then and SWAC now?
SWAC then, I would say it was more like they were dominant, like a specific dominant team back then. I mean, shout out to who was it? Alabama A&M. They were automatic to win SWAC. And they had great athletes and they had great coaches. And we all had great coaches as well, but you know, back then it was more so this person's going to win or they're projected to win. But now I see that it's anybody, because I feel like, you know, the quality of athletes have really, really changed. You know, they're very dynamic, they're very athletic, taller, you know, very just more resources. So it's kind of like anybody can win SWAC at this point. That's how I feel. That's how I view it.
Absolutely. I agree.
Facilities are better. I mean, speaking of, you know, when we were at PV, we didn't have those types of facilities or those types of resources. I do believe that we paved the way, but, you know, now they have, you know, more things, which is great, you know, which I feel like, you know, is beneficial to the program. So, you know, now you can see a difference, you know, in our alma mater.
Absolutely. One of the biggest differences, I think our age group was probably the last group to get away with not playing club volleyball, but having some success as a SWAC volleyball player. I know myself, I didn't get a chance to, but much like most of our teammates who won the 2006 SWAC championship, we were multi-sport athletes at our high school and had been so through middle school. So our exposure to sports, we had a lot of room to grow. The ceiling was very high for us. Didn't come into volleyball with a lot of bad habits because we had only played for such a short period of time. And then brought that competitive spirit and edge from being things like a basketball player, which a lot of us were. So now SWAC, all the teams feature club volleyball players, so kids who are playing year-round. So naturally, the level of play has increased tremendously. When we were around, if you were athletic, you could pretty much dominate in the SWAC, but now you've got to be skilled and athletic, especially when you look at the top three teams in the conference right now, which is FAMU, Alabama State, then you have Jackson State and Alabama A&M get in there. And those schools have got kids that could have went to some mid-majors in that part of the country, versus some of the schools in the lower half of the SWAC. Some of those athletes couldn't have gone anywhere, maybe no other Division I schools, but that particular SWAC school. So the level of play has risen tremendously. I got a chance to call the SWAC championship and the semifinal game, and the pace and the speed of the sets rivaled that of all the other mid-major Division I conferences, and I was so happy to see the growth. So, yes, it's grown tremendously. Shannon, I got one question for you. We're going to close out every guest with this. Last year, if you recall, Eddie Robinson Jr. of the Alabama State football team called out Coach Prime in a press conference and said he ain't SWAC. And from that, the hashtag I am SWAC blew up. What does it mean to you? So number one, is there such a thing as someone is SWAC? That's the first question. Number two, if they are, what does that mean when you say I am SWAC? How does one separate themselves from others when they use the designation I am SWAC? What are they saying?
Well, I mean, it's self-explanatory. It would mean to me that you went to a SWAC school. But, you know, I don't know. I just feel like with Coach Prime, he's very diverse, you know, in his coaching. And I don't believe that somebody needs to actually be a SWAC person in order to coach a SWAC school. You know, he has a lot of experience from what I know, just in his years of coaching. And, you know, he has done a tremendous job in anywhere that he's been. So, I mean, I kind of try to not get caught up in those types of things, but, you know, it is what it is at this point.
I agree. I do think, I agree to a point. I think there is such thing as I am SWAC, and I think where that sets you apart, when I think about our journey and where the SWAC has gone from then to now, I think it is a way to show pride in that I was a part of this before it had any resources. And I was one of the people that went here before it was a hashtag, before it was popular, before Black Lives Matter, before it was cool. And that the SWAC, I also think, took a chance on me when other conferences wouldn't. So I love the hashtag and the positive things about it. So I tend to lean more towards the positive things that it means in terms of, there's a sense of pride that, you know what, I am SWAC. And in some ways we are the, go ahead.
Hear more positive or more negative about it, though, because the way it's coming, or that I've heard it, is more so, oh, he's not, he ain't SWAC, or like you are SWAC because you're in, you're in the moment. That's kind of how I feel. Like if you have SWAC experience, then that's a part of you, whether you was here
Absolutely. Or not. Yeah, and I think people argue about where Eddie Robinson Jr. is going, and we know that in press conferences, people say things out of emotion. I think more to him, so much buzz is going around, and there's a controversy among HBCU groups about hiring coaches that they're HBCU lifers, or bringing in individuals outside of the HBCU realm and giving them coaching jobs. So what he said alluded to so many other conversations that are going on around HBCU athletics. And I think he was emotional, but I like to believe, because he is a HBCU guy and a SWAC guy, that he was more so stating, I've been here and I put in the work before it was popular to do so, before the internet highlighted it and we went viral. And so, again, I think it stirred up a great conversation. For me, the hashtag I am SWAC, I beat my chest and I'm so prideful, because I am two-time SWAC, decided to go to Texas Southern and worked in the athletic department. So it's a great deal of pride associated with it. Well, Coach Harrison, I want to thank you for coming on to the show. You're our first guest. You're etched in history, and you're familiar with making history. That's kind of what you do. So thank you so much for coming on the show. Any parting words you want to give the listeners before we go?
Just be true to who you are. Put in the work, and things will come. Stay invested.
Absolutely. Make that investment. Well, all right, you guys, enjoy your weekend. Coach Harrison, good luck tonight, as I know you guys probably have a game, and let us know how it goes.
First conference game tonight.
All right, and I know you guys are already set to have a historic season. Keep it going, and good luck.
Thank you so much.
How you doing? This is Dr. Mike Prince with the Open Mic Broadcast Network. First, we'd like to say thank you guys for joining in with us for our daily content that we create here at the network, and we cannot get it done without your continued support. And we are now in need of your support for our listening partnership drive, which starts from September 1st through the 30th, to help us continue to build the necessary tools and training guide for our student broadcast coverage. We are extremely proud to be partners with Waller County, Texas for sports broadcast coverage since 2002. We were awarded the 2012 Media Excellence Award from the Texas Association of School Boards, and we are continually growing and building. Our network has contributed to many college students building and extending their careers through our training for jobs and internships in the sports media market. We have a simple philosophy here at the Open Mic Broadcast Network. Love what you do, simplify what you do, and master what you do. With those three elements involved in our movement, we take pride in teaching the principles and the technique necessary for a successful career in media broadcasting. We provide real-time, on-the-job training for our student broadcasters, which help propel them to various entities of this sports media market. Help us continue to give the gift that keeps on giving today. You can visit our website at obnradio.com. This is a great opportunity for you to continue showing your support for us here at the Open Mic Broadcast Network while helping us continue to provide the integral teachings of our student broadcasters. Once again, you can visit that website at obnradio.com and make your donation today. I am the radio guy, Dr. Mike Prince, thanking you guys so much for being a part of our movement. And until the next time, you guys be blessed, and we'll see you on the other side.
The voice of student athletics, the Open Mic Broadcast Network.
All right, you heard from the queen of the courts, Miss Tamika Newman, breaking down the X's and O's, and I guess she's swag. I guess I'm swag too. And I guess if you're listening to this, that makes you swag too. How about we all swag? Thanks a lot, Tamika, for such a fantastic job. We look forward to hearing from her each and every week. Well, as I mentioned earlier, we're going to break down this week's power rankings for the Southwestern Athletic Conference on the football side of things. Now, we do not base this solely on wins and losses. We base it on overall performance and just some little other intriguing caveats that we looked at as far as overall playability, durability, and just dealing and adjusting for the week that was for the said teams. And with that being said, we're going to start off from top and go down to number 12. Number 1 this week would be the FAMU Rattlers. Number 2 on our power ranking will have Alabama State filling that role. Number 3 will be the Prairie View A&M University Panthers. Number 4, Texas Southern. Number 5 for the power ranking this week. Number 5 was Southern University. Number 6, Jackson State. Number 7 was Alcorn State Braves. Number 8, Alabama A&M Bulldogs. Number 9 this week will be the Bethune-Cookman Wildcats. Number 10, the Grambling State Tigers. Number 11, University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff. And number 12, Mississippi Valley Delta Devils. Now, of course, we did talk about what the key matchup is going to be this week, at least on our radar. It's going to be that Jackson State Southern University game. That game will be at Mumford Stadium in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Kickoff will be at 6 p.m. But there's another game that I am going to be really, really monitoring. As a matter of fact, 2 games I'm going to be monitoring extremely well. And that's Alcorn, Stephen F. Austin. Now, these two have been getting together. They'll be meeting in Nacogdoches today. But I really believe that Alcorn is primed to, some is going to consider the upset, but to get the win on the road. But the other game that I'm really going to be laser focused on is the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff. They'll be taking on the Tennessee State Tigers, and I am really looking for the Golden Lions to do some big things today. I really am. Just got that gut feeling, and no, it's not heartburn, but I really believe that the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff is going to show up and show up big against the Tennessee State Tigers. Texas Southern will be on the road at Toledo. Bethune-Cookman will be taking on Savannah State. Used to be MEAC opponents, but now MEAC is without neither one of these guys because Savannah State stepped back down to D2. And, of course, Bethune-Cookman is with the Southwestern Athletic Conference. So that'll be a very intriguing game as well on today. Alabama A&M will be taking on the Lane Dragons. They'll be hosting them 6 p.m. later today. And Alabama State, coming off their big win over Southern, they'll be playing the Miles Golden Bears later on today at 5 p.m. Now, of course, when the dust all settles today, I believe the pressure game is going to be that Jackson State and Southern game. Both teams cannot really afford a loss this week. But as we mentioned earlier, someone will lose today. And when you look at this thing, T.C. Taylor came out the gates fast and furious. Laid an egg last week against FAMU. They're on the road of redemption. Coach Dooley coming out stumbling, not what the home team was expecting in the case of Baton Rouge. He'll be back. And if you know anything about Southern Jag football fan base, just Southern fan base, period, very, very high demanding and commanding group of individuals. And the I won't say it's hot, but the seat is definitely getting warm for Dooley. And I'm expecting the Jags to come out on top today, but they do have to play those things out. So that, as we keep saying, that is going to really be a game to watch. But don't forget, the Panthers will start their kickoff against the Abilene Christian Wildcats on the Hill, 6 p.m. That game will be brought to you live right here on the network. Andre Davis, Greg Johnson, and Philip Prince providing in-depth coverage for you guys from start to finish. Don't forget, you can go to that website at obnradio.com, click on that Listen Live link, and you'll be able to listen to the game throughout its entirety. If you're on the go, don't have internet access, all you need to do is pull out your transistor radio, now known as a phone, and you can dial 857-777-0000. And if there's anyone under the age of 40, they probably say, what in the heck is a transistor's radio? Just ask your parents about it. It's a little thing that used to be on everyone's hip, especially for sporting events and weather news updates. But check it out. You can listen to the games that way. Of course, that number again is 857-777-0000. Or you can go to the website and click on the Listen Live link at obnradio.com. We do want to thank you guys who helped support our popcorn fundraiser. Didn't hit the goal that we had set, but we did make a little impression, and we thank each and every one of you for your participation. But I just want to remind you that we are in the midst of our listening partner campaign for the month of September. We're asking those who can and will join with us by becoming a listening partner. And what does it take to become a listening partner? It's just simply go to the website. You'll see the donation button and commit to a 17-cent a day promise. That's all we're asking. That comes out to $5 a month, $60 for the entire year. Or you can just do it all in one smooth motion. You become a listening partner. It helps us to continue to provide the training for these broadcasters and provide equipment, maintenance, and updates and everything that it takes for the network to keep running smoothly. So visit that website if you would, obnradio.com. Click on the donation button and become a listening partner today. Of course, the listening partner campaign drive is from September 1st through the 30th. But if you happen to miss it, you can keep on giving. It's the gift that keeps on giving throughout the rest of the year. But we're asking all that can join with us for this month's membership drive. I'm going to take a real quick pause, and we'll be right back with more of this weekend show. And welcome back. It is the radio guy, Dr. Mike Prince. Want to remind you guys that you can listen to the Mike Prince Show Monday through Fridays. We have a fresh new episode with some interviews and all the things going on and out, around and about the world of the Southwestern Athletic Conference, in particular that of Prairie View A&M University. You get a chance to hear from Coach Van Pettaway, Coach Heiss Northern, Coach Tamika Newman, and all sorts of other guests that we have throughout the week. We hear from the Prairie View football staff, and other coaches throughout the Southwestern Athletic Conference. And we are proud to be able to produce these shows for you each and every day. Of course, on Saturday, we release The Zone. And for those who would need a spiritual uplift, you can catch us on Sunday mornings, 10 a.m. Central Time, by simply going to the website, obnradio.com, clicking on that Listen Live link, or by dialing 857-777-0000. Well, the games are moments away, or should we say at least a couple of hours away from getting started, and we're going to be nestled in, ready to go, and give you the reports and updates as they unfold. Don't forget you can follow me on X at The Mike Prince Show, and subscribe to our YouTube channel at the Open Mic Broadcast Network. My time has come where I must exit stage left for today, but we do want to thank the Queen of the Courts, Miss Tamika Newman, for her excellent interview on this week, and plenty more to come. And thank each and every one of you that make this thing possible by your participation, support, and your continue to listen. I am the radio guy, Dr. Mike Prince. Don't forget, Panthers in Action, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, 5:30 is that pregame show right here at the Open Mic Broadcast Network. And until the next time, you guys be blessed, and we'll see you on the other side.